Come on over here, stop sign. Green light. Thanks anyway. And come on up to the stop.
Bike.
There's quite a few things to be mindful of. First, we always think about a child's head. We always want all children to wear a helmet. But it's not, a helmet is not just a hat. I tell kids that. A helmet has to be fitted correctly. And parents should know how to put the helmet correctly onto their child. So we want, a helmet that fits the dimensions of the child's head. Helmet manufacturers will specify a size for that helmet. And so you want it to match your child's head size. Then you also want it to be level on your child's head, not leaning back, not leaning forward. We want those straps to come down and make a V in front of, under the ear for that child. And we want those straps tight enough so that if my child opens their mouth, that their helmet pulls down on their head. If that child is shaking their head all around, that helmet should not be moving. So it really takes all of those things put together to make sure that that helmet is fitted properly on that child's head. And then we also see injuries to the abdomen from, believe it or not, the handlebars of the bike. If a child hits something and goes over the front of the bike, and that's very hard to prevent that injury, but what a child can do is, be aware of their surroundings, know what's in front of them, and what could compromise their ability to ride safely, what could cause them to flip over their bike.
And what about kids? They're like, Mom, Dad, I'm just going down the street. I don't need my helmet. I mean, it doesn't take going a long distance to be at risk.
Yeah, it doesn't take a long distance to be at risk. And I have children say, if I fall off, I'm not going to hit my head. And I tell them, you might not hit your head. I hope you don't hit your head if you fall off. But when you fall off your bike, if you do, you can't control your body. And if you hit your head, that helmet is the only thing protecting you from a head injury or brain injury. So no matter how far you're going, that helmet is very important. And I think it's also important to send the message to caregivers to help put that helmet on correctly and make sure it's installed correctly, not just trusting that the child will do it correctly.
Is there a certain month of the year that you guys see a spike in those injuries related to bicycles?
I would say we call this time of year trauma season. So we see a spike in a lot of different injuries, and that's just because children are outdoors more. But of course we see that spike when the weather is nice. Children want to be outside, and we want our children to be outside. So encouraging them to be on their bikes is important, but encouraging safety on the bikes is important. We want children to know how to ride safely in addition to knowing how to wear their protective gear while riding their bikes. So we want them to know the rules of the road. Children should ride on a sidewalk at all times, but if a sidewalk is not available, they could walk or they could ride as far to the right as possible. We want them to know what signs mean. Of course, a stop sign, we want them stopping at a stop sign. If it's a yield or a crosswalk, we want them to know those things and where to safely cross. And lastly, they could wear bright colored clothing, especially if they're riding at night. But no matter what time of day, bright colored clothing makes children easier to see.
Perfect. Hi, my name is Morgan Howard, and I am an RN here at Riley in the emergency department.
Okay, great. So tell me, we're out here learning all about bike safety today. When is that time of the year that you guys see the most injuries associated with bicycles here at the hospital?
Especially now when it's starting to get nice and warm outside. Everyone's getting outside and playing, riding their bikes, and yeah, I would say definitely helmet safety is a huge thing because head injuries are huge. Even from concussions to very serious head injuries can happen just from being on a bike. Handlebars sometimes can go into patients' stomachs, and that can cause some serious injuries, a lot of broken bones. Sometimes it's a lot later. They don't realize, they think their kid's okay afterwards, and then they don't come in till the next day, and then sometimes it can be even too late then, if they already have a head bleed or something pretty serious. So it's harder to cope and deal with that sickness and with the family when it is a little too late, when we can prevent stuff like this.